Hi there, it's Nicole. This is the Waffle Flower channel, and this is It's in the Details. And my card this week features not only just a card, but a matching envelope, which is so easy to create with some of the brand new stamps available from the latest release. I'm going to be using stamps from the Enveloper Hello stamp set and the Enveloper Little Birdie stamp set. And I just love these. This is a very simple card to make. These would be beautiful to create a whole bunch of them and maybe even give as a gift. I'm going to start with some smooth white cardstock here. And I used a powder bag on it because I'm going to be doing some embossing. This is going to be some embossed resist, one of my very favorite stamping techniques. I'm going to ink up the long border from the Enveloper Little Birdie stamp set with Versamark ink and stamp that along the bottom edge of this panel or piece of smooth white cardstock. And I'm going to make sure I get a really good impression there. Maybe if I hold it at an angle, you can see it just a little bit. Once I get the embossing powder, you should be able to see the design, but it's got this beautiful design along the bottom edge. Then I'm going to grab kind of a coordinating little image here from the Enveloper Hello stamp set to stamp along the top. And you can see I'm not stamping it right at the top of the paper. That's because I'm actually going to trim this down. So I just went ahead and kind of gauged where I thought I wanted it to go and then stamp that there. I'm going to go ahead and heat these now with my heat tool. And one little tip is to make sure that your heat gun is really well and heated up, especially when you're going to emboss such a big area like this, because you really don't want your paper to warp. So, and keep moving that heat tool back and forth. You don't want to keep it in one place too long and scorch the paper. So I'm just moving this, excuse me, back and forth. And then I'm going to start applying some distress inks over the embossing. And I'm starting with a light hand here, just so I don't get any harsh marks with the ink blending foam tool. I am starting with Wilted Violet Distress ink. This is a beautiful purple. I'm going to be blending purples and kind of aquas and greens together. A fun, really fun color combination, I think. I've been experimenting with different color combinations lately, and I just love it. I think it's so fun. What I especially love about the embossed resist technique is how the image comes to life once you place that ink over the embossed area. I think it's so fantastic. I am blending in a little cracked pistachio distress ink now, and you can tell the colors are not blending very well. This is one of those color combinations you're going to have to really kind of work at a little bit, but it's so worth it. Now, originally I thought I would just use Wilted Violet and Cracked Pistachio, but I realized fairly quickly that I really felt like I needed an additional color. I wanted to deepen and darken some of those green tones, and so I'm going to pull in a little Lucky Clover Distress ink with this as well. By simply going back and forth with my distress ink tools and colors and blending and blending and blending, you're going to get that really beautiful seamless transition. I'm going to go ahead and finish coloring all of this top portion in with the Cracked Pistachio Distress ink. And again, you can see the rest of those stamped and embossed images kind of coming to life. And then I'll grab some Lucky Clover and blend that kind of in between where those two colors meet. And it's just going to deepen and darken. It's just got that, it just really kind of blends those colors together, in my opinion. I love it. I think it goes so well with the Cracked Pistachio, and I'll just need to go back with the Wilted Violet and really blend to get that nice transition. Once I have my distress ink colors applied the way I want them to look, I'm going to spritz this whole thing with water from a distress sprayer. I just wanted additional distressing. If you don't want distressing, you could totally skip this step and your card will still be beautiful. I just love the look of those water splotches in my Distress ink. I don't always do it, but I would say 80% of the time I like to spritz some water. I just love the way Distress ink reacts with water. You can see here I've spritzed it and the ink starts wicking away from where any of those water droplets are. I'm going to just let it sit for a few seconds, blot it dry with a paper towel, and then I'm even going to go over any of the embossed areas and buff off any of the ink that might be sitting on top of that. I've got a little scrap of black cardstock here that I'm also going to use the powder tool on, and I am going to stamp the Heartfelt Thanks greeting from the Enveloper Hello stamp set using Versamark ink, and I'm going to heat emboss this with white embossing powder as well. I want my greeting to be bright white embossed on black cardstock, and I'm just going to heat that up with my heat tool, and then I'm going to trim this into a thin strip that I can trim down and attach to my card. I love the look of white embossing on black cardstock as a greeting, especially with a fairly simple background, but it has lots of ink. It's very rich in color. The black with the white embossing really stands out against that. I'm going to flip my panel over and back this whole panel with foam adhesive. This is a great way to get some additional dimension because this is a very simple card. There's not going to be a ton of layers, which means it's going to mail really easily. I like to add a little foam adhesive sometimes just to give it a little something. I'm going to attach that to a white side fold card base, put some nice strong adhesive on the back of my greeting strip, and then I'm just going to figure out exactly where I want that to go and attach that. And then I'm going to dress up my card with some simple sequins. I've got a whole assortment of Pretty Pink Posh sequins here in shades of purples and greens, which really complement the ink colors, and I'm attaching those with some Zotz Bling glue dots, which are my favorite way to attach sequins, so there's no glue mess. Scattering those throughout the entire card. Once I have my sequins in place, I went ahead and stamped a coordinating envelope to go with my card. And I have really been into lately not only maybe stamping the insides of my cards and kind of giving them a finished look that way, but trying to find a way to dress up my envelopes that I send my cards in. And these stamp sets are perfect for creating some very simple stamped and embossed envelopes that coordinate perfectly with your cards. So I'm going to take an image from the Enveloper Hello stamp set, and I'm going to stamp this on a coordinating envelope. And I've got kind of a mint envelope here from Simon Says Stamp that I will stamp one of these images on. Again, I'm starting with my powder tool because that's going to help keep my embossing powder exactly where I want it to go and won't migrate anywhere else. But there's a couple of lines from the Enveloper Little Birdie stamp set that I'm going to stamp as well as the greeting that says to. Then I'm going to take that border that I was talking about from the Enveloper Hello stamp set and stamp that kind of in the bottom left corner of my envelope. And it doesn't go quite all the way across, which is okay. I'm going to grab another smaller image, stamp that next to it, and then stamp this one again, kind of creating my own border almost. You could also just leave it as a partial border. It doesn't have to go all the way across if you don't want it to. So there are a couple of them, and I will stamp one more little image. I figured I got this far, I might as well finish off the bottom. So I just stamped that long one again. I just needed a tiny little piece there in the bottom right corner. And then there's a darling little butterfly and like the little dashed lines for the butterfly from the Little Birdie stamp set that I'm going to stamp kind of coming up off of the lines where you can write your address. Again, everything is stamped with Versamark ink, and then I'm heat embossing it with white embossing powder. I'm going to heat this up and my envelope will perfectly coordinate with my card that I created. Thanks for joining me today for this brand new Waffle Flower Crafts embossed resist card with matching embossed envelope. For more product information, please visit waffleflower.com. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for more creative ideas. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.